Thoughts become things, and Jumbo, fellow life adventurer, happy Monday. Another day in paradise in these sacred jungles of time and space where I hope to, through answering your questions, give you traction to thrive in your awesome rocking life. Today's question came from some of the answers I gave last week, where I pointed out about sickness and some people suffering before they die and the cause of heartbreak. It all boils down to confusion. And I said that when we're out of alignment with truth, that brings on pain, hurt, physically, psychologically, and unintended manifestations. Nobody chooses to have wacky, awful stuff happen to them, but they do choose their thoughts. And if their thoughts are out of alignment with truth, and truth is absolute, then they get unexpected, contradictory manifestations here, there, hit, miss, ricochet, fall down, get back up, wonder why God's angry. Okay, so I've got a couple of things I want to share with you here that I think are kind of cool and kind of fun. First off, the rock of all that I share is that there is a truth, as I just stated. And when I say that, and I'll tell you what the truth is in just a minute, because it's not vague or tricky, but you understand the power of belief, correct? Well, there are certain few absolute truths in these sacred jungles of time and space that even in an absence of believing in them, even believing the opposite, and you know how powerful your beliefs are. Oh my God, they're almighty. The truth will prevail. The truth is the truth is the truth. It is not fair to say everyone has their own truth. That's wrong. Everyone has their own way to truth. Okay, all pathways to truth ought to be celebrated and respected. But the truth doesn't change. It is what it is. And if we are out of alignment with truth, chaos. Now, what is the truth? I've done my best to distill what I think are the 5 truths of being. My terminology here. Call them whatever you want. These are a bit redundant. They collapse into one another, some of them. There's probably only 1 or 2 or 3 truths of being that are absolute. So we're not talking about a whole lot of stuff here. We're talking about a simple little worldview that's unshakable no matter your beliefs. We are all one, all God, all love, divine, interconnected. A lot of ways of stating we are all one. You've heard these before too. Number 2, thoughts become things. We are creators. We bring about what we think about. It's immovable. Even if you don't believe it, then those beliefs will become your experience. Because thoughts become things is absolute, not because of the belief. Okay, number 3, life, aka consciousness, aka God, energy, ourselves, is eternal. Time is an illusion. Number 4, there is only love, which could be said there is only God. And number 5, it's all good, which is a trite way of saying everything is playing itself out in the heart of God. And what doesn't make sense today will one day make sense, even your unintended manifestations. Now, I have done a spiritual tune-up long ago on those 5 truths of being, so I'm not going to go rehash those. But let's talk about pain and suffering and how misunderstanding the truth can lead to these unintended manifestations that hurt us emotionally with heartbreak or cancer or the flu or the pandemic or whatever. Understand that we being of God, by God, pure God, as stated, we are all one. There's only love. There's only God, right? Okay. Given that we are every pure divinity, we were and still are, but unbeknownst to us, everywhere, always at once. Time's an illusion. Reality's eternal. So we are everywhere, always at once. We knew the truth. We came from the truth. We were radiating truth. We were pure divine intelligence from the zenith and the peak of magnificence. And from there, God most wanted to be you, down here and now, and me, and everyone else, and a dog, and a flea, and a tree, and a mote of dust. All of it is pure God. Why? For the adventure of it, for the fun of it, to forget that you're everywhere, always at once, so you can fall back in love with everywhere, always at once. Fall in love with yourself. Be fallen in love with. And get it on, man. It's such a beautiful world that we live in, and we're eternal. We got nothing to worry about. Divine intelligence is always riding beside us. So we were everywhere, always at once, in total truth, and we came here. And now, oh my gosh, lions and tigers and bears. Now we don't remember we're everywhere, always at once. Why? This is not a mistake. This was not a fall from grace, even though it's called that. They're trying to put words to it so we understand that we were there, now we're here, now we're lost, now we're confused, now we're in pain. But this was foreseen, that we would come here, we would be so blinded by the beauty and the fabulous symbiotic relationships and the colors, the sights, the jungles, the forests, the snow, the smell of salt water. Oh my God. And we knew that would kind of take our attention, and we would begin thinking that life is happening to us, instead of realizing we're streaming it all into place. But that's okay, because there's automatic healing going on all the time. And in this lifetime, or the next, or the next, or the 10,000th, you're going to get to that place of good and plenty and totally remembering where you came from. When you come here and you're in this soup, this fog, and your physical senses are spellbound, and then your cute little brain is trying to logically parse it all out, it's like you get even further removed from the truth, which is why the Eastern religions promote no thinking, follow your breath, have a mantra, just to quiet the chatter. You don't have to stop the chatter, but it can be very helpful if you're so blinded to the truth because of the chatter. So you want to dim your awareness, you want to ease back into truth, you want to feel your inner senses, you want to align with the absolutes that brought you here and that prevail in your waking life right now. The truth. So the drama distracts us and the logic distracts us, but they're not to be jettisoned. They're not to be abandoned. They're not to be hated. The drama is awesome. It's love-driven. Yeah, there's a lot of fear there as well. Just don't let it hijack your life. Enjoy the drama. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy hanging out and telling stories and lions and tigers and bears and dreams come true. That's all drama. That's where you're going to learn about the truth. So you want to manage the beautiful drama, not put off your happiness for it. While managing it, you're going to be open to higher and greater truths. I'm going to give you some awesome examples in just a minute of how missing something in terms of truth can bring about painful circumstances. So please hang on. This is going to get really juicy. The goal is not to remove ourselves from time and space. That's where we came from. Okay? The goal is to be here, but bring the truth down. The goal is not to die to your desires. The goal is not to think no thoughts. Those can be a helpful tool. The goal is not to transcend the illusions to the degree that you're completely nonplussed by them. You want to be plussed by them. You want your boat to be rocked by them, but you can manage how they do this. And when it hurts, you bring on more truth and find out where you are out of alignment with truth. Okay, so did I paint? I hope I painted you a good picture. Now I want to bring on to the stage one of the best-selling books in the history of humanity on planet Earth. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. This is literally in the tens of millions, 50 million, 100 million. There's only a couple hundred books in our recorded history, okay, not counting Atlantis or Lemuria or Mu or all those other places. In recorded history of all books ever written and printed, this is one of the best-selling books in the eternity of time. Okay, I'm getting nothing for this. I'm not trying to, I'm bringing an example to what I've been talking about in truth, alignment, and pain. Okay, Louise Hay, bless her soul, rest in peace, the co-founder of Hay House, today's Hay House, a sprawling, global, awesome, self-awareness publisher. That company was started by Louise Hay when she was like 58, 60 years old. She partnered up with Reed Tracy, and this was their initial offering. It still sells like hotcakes for good reason. The first half of this amazing book is Louise Hay's biography that she wrote, filled with lessons from her life that are jaw-dropping, from cancer to child abuse, sexual abuse. Oh my God, what she went through. And then she's turned it into some exercises so that anybody can do some self-reflection. The second half of this book was why I first got it, before I even knew about her autobiography in the book. And it is page after page after page, hundreds of at least 100 examples of common physical ailments like headaches, menstrual pains. You name it. I'm going to read you some of these. And then her view, presumably channeled because it's profound or distilled from many sources, I don't know, but it's solid gold. Her view, we'll say, of the psychological conflicts that brought about certain ailments. For example, back pain. 95% of the time, back pain is tied to worrying about money. Now, I will tell you in advance, some of her explanations are disappointing and frustrating, and I look and see, and I might have an ailment, and I'll look in here. I always go here. And sometimes I see the truth right away, and sometimes I don't. That doesn't mean the truth isn't there. And when I do find resonance, maybe it's just an aberration. So I always take stuff like this with a grain of salt. But for example, some really common ones. Cancer. Now, I know it's fashionable and mainstream to think that cancer is just random genetics. Did your parents get it? Well, you might get it. It's like, not. Cancer is brought about by deep hurt, long-standing resentment, deep secrets or grief eating away at the self, carrying hatreds, or feeling like, what's the use? Those conditions, not always, but in many, many, many cases, lead to cancer. Different types of cancer, different types of resentments, kind of thing. Then she talks about bunions, burns, bursitis, buttocks, canker sores, carbuncle, boils, carpal tunnel, cataracts, cellulite. Here's another one that I know you'll be interested in. The flu. What is the flu brought about? Common thinking is, it's simply contagious. You're just bad luck if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. I've spoken to that very recently in the COVID vaccine or not, a few tune-ups ago, but here it is. Influenza. Response to mass negativity. Response to mass beliefs. Fear. Belief in statistics. And then she gives an affirmation to negate those kind of problems. Now, that does not mean don't get a vaccine. Sometimes it's better, as I suggested, to kind of play along and cover that base. You got to decide that for yourself. But that's what influenza is. And that doesn't mean you might not use a belief in contagions to get flu if you have it. Also on this page, insomnia, intestines, itching, joints, kidney problems, kidney stones. Everything. Lockjaw, lungs, malaria, pink eye, pimples. Sickle cell anemia, shoulders, skeletons, skin, slip. I could not possibly recommend more highly this book. I've got several copies in this house. I give copies away. It gets you thinking. It might not pin the tail on the donkey. It might not be right. But where, with a mindset that brings about cancer, as I just read, are you not seeing that there is order and perfection and beauty, and that you still have power, and that you still have the rest and the best of your life before you? If we are so far out of alignment that we're not seeing God in everyone, even the jerks, if we're not seeing our eternal nature, if we're not seeing that we have this unbelievable ability to rebound and improve and to heal, we are out of alignment with truth. And this can, she talks about Alzheimer's. She probably talks about boredom. I mean, the simplest things to some of the most complex things, and it will get you thinking thoughts you've never thought before, which is the whole point. Okay, so fellow adventurers, a long one today. I hope I connected a few dots for you. In addition to Louise Hay's book, I also realized I have a book of my own that is basically Q&A like these tune-ups throughout, that came out from Hay House about 6 years ago, called Life on Earth, where I talk about Atlantis, ancient civilizations, UFOs, Bigfoots, Yetis, challenges, dreams coming true, creating wealth, Life on Earth. That if you like these tune-ups, I think you'll like that book as well. Life on Earth, Mike Dooley. And this Thursday, we're kicking off the one and only annual certified training, our Infinite Possibilities Train the Trainer program. Link below on Facebook, swipe up on Instagram. Thanks for letting me do this. Ask your great questions. A lot of great questions came in over the weekend. It's going to be a juicy week. Okay, hasta pronto. Te amo. Adios, amigos.